Return to Nangrim is the kind of game that doesn't rush to impress you. At first glance, it feels quiet, almost restrained. But the longer you stay, the deeper it pulls you in. This is a dark, first-person fantasy adventure with survival and RPG elements, built around heavy Dwarven lore and a world that feels abandoned, hostile, and haunted by its past. It's not a power fantasy. It's a journey into decay, memory, and survival. From the moment you step into Nangrim, the tone is clear. Cold winds echo through empty halls. Stone corridors stretch into darkness. Fires have long gone out, and whatever once lived here is either dead or waiting. The game doesn't explain everything up front. Instead, it lets the environment speak. Cracked walls, broken forges, abandoned tools. Every space tells a story without a single line of dialogue. This is a first-person experience, and that perspective matters. You don't observe Nangrim from a distance. You inhabit it. You walk through the ruins at eye level, torch in hand, listening to your footsteps bounce off stone. Darkness isn't just visual, it feels oppressive. Your torch is more than a light source. It's protection, a weapon, and sometimes the only thing standing between you and what lurks in the shadows. Survival plays a key role in how the game unfolds. You're not simply exploring for lore or loot. You're crafting, scavenging, and managing resources just to stay alive. Items must be collected and combined carefully. Every tool, every material has value. The pacing encourages patience, observation, and preparation rather than reckless movement. One of the most striking aspects of Return to Nangrim is its commitment to Dwarven culture. This isn't a generic fantasy setting with dwarves as background flavor. The entire world is built around them. Their architecture, their language, their traditions, all of it is woven directly into gameplay. You'll encounter Hildur, the ancient runic language of the dwarves, used not only for storytelling, but also for puzzles and progression. Understanding the world means learning how it thinks. Crafting and forging are central systems here, and they're deeply thematic. You don't just pick up powerful weapons, you earn them. As you explore, you'll learn to forge axes, hammers, and shields the way the dwarves once did. Upgrading equipment feels grounded and purposeful, not flashy. Each improvement matters, especially when combat is dangerous and unforgiving. Combat itself is deliberate. It's not about overwhelming enemies with speed or numbers. Encounters are tense, often slow, and sometimes best avoided entirely. The darkness works against you, visibility is limited, and every fight carries risk. Your tools feel heavy, your movements have weight. This reinforces the idea that you're not a hero conquering the mountain, you're a survivor trying to reclaim it. Another layer that adds emotional weight is your animal companion. You're not completely alone in Nangrim. This companion isn't just a gameplay mechanic, it's a presence. In a world filled with silence and ruin, that small sense of companionship makes a difference. It subtly changes how exploration feels, adding warmth to an otherwise cold environment. Procedural elements ensure that no two journeys through Nangrim are exactly the same. While the core world and lore remain consistent, layouts, item placements, and certain encounters can shift. This keeps exploration fresh and reinforces the idea that the mountain is vast, unpredictable, and still alive in its own way. Most importantly, Return to Nangrim respects the player's intelligence. It doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't rush you. It trusts you to observe, to connect the dots, and to slowly uncover what happened to the Stonebeards in their final days. The mystery isn't delivered through cutscenes or exposition dumps. It's carved into stone, hidden in runes, and buried beneath layers of silence. In the next part, we'll go deeper into the gameplay systems, the VR experience, and why Return to Nangrim stands out among modern fantasy survival games. Not by being louder, but by being quieter, heavier, and more deliberate. As you spend more time in Nangrim, the depth of its systems becomes clearer. This is not just a game about exploration, but about understanding how different mechanics support one another. Crafting feeds survival, survival feeds exploration, and exploration slowly uncovers the truth behind the fall of this ancient dwarven city. Everything is interconnected, and nothing feels wasted. One of the most immersive systems in the game is blacksmithing. Forging isn't a side activity here, It's part of the identity of the world. You learn to work metal the way the dwarves once did, using forges hidden deep within the mountain. Creating weapons feels earned, not automatic. You gather materials, prepare tools, and slowly shape equipment that will actually keep you alive. The process reinforces the idea that Nangrim was once a place of craftsmanship and pride, not just war. Food and brewing also play an important role. You're able to cook traditional dwarven meals and brew legendary beers in abandoned taverns. These aren't just flavor systems. What you eat and drink affects your survival and exploration. It's another reminder that this world once thrived with daily life, celebration, and routine, things now reduced to echoes. The environmental design deserves special attention. Nangrim doesn't rely on constant enemy encounters to maintain tension. Instead, it uses space, sound, and silence. Long corridors stretch into darkness. Caverns open up into massive underground chambers where your torch barely reaches the walls. Sometimes nothing happens for minutes at a time, and that's exactly the point. The stillness makes every sound matter. A distant echo, a flicker of movement, a shadow that doesn't quite behave the way it should. This approach makes the occasional enemy encounter far more impactful. Creatures that remain in the mountain don't feel random. They feel like part of the environment, adapted to darkness and decay. Fighting them is dangerous, and often you'll feel underprepared. The game constantly asks you to decide whether to press forward or retreat and prepare better. Another unique aspect is how story is delivered. Return to Nangrim doesn't rely on traditional narrative structures. There are no long cutscenes explaining what went wrong. Instead, the fate of the Stonebeards is revealed through environmental clues, runic inscriptions, side areas, and hidden collectibles. You piece the story together slowly, and often emotionally, as you realize what was lost and why this place became a tomb. For players interested in immersion, the VR support takes everything even further. Experiencing Nangrim in virtual reality transforms the game entirely. The scale of the environments feels overwhelming. Darkness becomes more threatening. The act of holding a torch or forging a weapon feels physical and personal. It's not just an added feature. It feels like one of the intended ways to experience the game's atmosphere at its strongest. What truly sets Return to Nangrim apart from other fantasy survival games is restraint. It doesn't overwhelm you with systems, tutorials, or constant objectives. It trusts you to move at your own pace. It allows you to get lost, sometimes literally, and to learn through experience. That design choice won't appeal to everyone, but for players who enjoy slow, deliberate exploration, it's incredibly rewarding. There's also a strong sense of melancholy running through everything. This is a world after collapse. You're not rebuilding a thriving kingdom. You're walking through the aftermath, trying to understand it, and maybe reclaim a fragment of what once was. That emotional weight is present in the music, the visuals, and even the silence between actions. By the time you've spent several hours in Nangrim, the mountain stops feeling like a level and starts feeling like a place. A place with history, culture, and scars. And that's where the game succeeds the most. Not by pushing constant action, but by creating a world that feels real, ancient, and heavy with memory.